Hello, my name is Taeyun. I'm an artist and an educator. This tutorial is for students and hobbyists who are learning about electronics and logic for the first time. This video is geared towards students who may already know a little bit about electronics, such as the idea of voltage, resistance, current, and also they understand how LEDs work. There's a cathode and anode on LEDs, and they have some understanding of the binary logic, especially the fact that it takes two inputs. Each input could be either true or false, or high or low, or 0 or 1. So these three sets of conditions are actually same, so that they pair up. And the binary logic has one output. So this video will not go into details of some of the conceptual aspects of binary logic. I will make another video for that. But this video is definitely focusing on hands-on approach to making the logic gates using NAND chips. You might wonder why the electronic circuit prototype boards are called breadboards. It's because back in the days, people actually used breadboards to create electrical circuit as a test, because the breadboards are made out of wood for the most part, and wood is not conductive, so it was possible to nail some points onto the breadboard, wrap the wire around, and create an electrical circuit. Nowadays, we don't use the actual breadboard, but we still use that word, and it still carries that history of breadboards. This particular bread is from Rebel Breads in Denver, Colorado, which I just bought and really enjoyed. So let's get started. Okay, welcome to Breadboard 101. We're going to create a few logic gates using CMOS NAND chip and a voltage regulator. So the two pieces of hardware that are going to be critical are these SN74132 chip, and this is a voltage regulator that will take 9-volt input and then give a clean 5-volt output. So I'm going to put aside this chip for a minute. In the voltage regulator, there are 3 terminals, 3 tips, and this side that has a silicon that's sticking out, that's considered the front. So we're actually going to use it kind of facing this way, because what we want to do is to take 9-volt in this terminal, ground here, and then 5-volt out over here. So let's see. First, I am going to give 5-volt out here. To give a ground here. I'm going to give my 9-volt here. And to see if this is working all right, let's see what we can do. I'm going to just test by connecting. And in LED, there's this tiny flat surface. So that is the minus, or the anode. I'm going to give it like that. So you can see that LED is lighting up. The current is flowing from this terminal to here, to here, to the bottom. So only this part is activated right now because these terminals are disconnected by design. So we have to manually connect all of them. So let's do that. You might ask why the hell people have disconnected this terminal. There might be a chance that you might want to run different voltage to different segments of the breadboard. It might actually give you a lot more freedom to be able to run for example, like 5 volt on this end and then 9 volt on this end. And right now, our breadboard is connected up to this point, so you can actually see. And now it's running up to here. It wasn't running like that. And so far, this part is not running. So I'm actually gonna try to bring it out here. And put my resistor. Right now, the current is not flowing here, so I'm gonna leave this like that. We have to route the entire terminal from this end to this end, running this jumper wire. Jumper wire here. So we have power coming in, but we don't have a ground at the moment. So we need the ground as always to run electricity. So I'm gonna run this like that. And you could actually use just one jumper wire to do this. I was trying to show how to do this without using the wire cutter. So just using the small wires that we have in the pack. So right now the current is flowing up to here. Now we're gonna run it even all the way to the top. And it's quite common to actually confuse the power and ground on both sides of the terminal, because right now the red is here and red is here, and it's possible they are connecting red to blue and blue to red, and that will be shorting the circuit. So make sure that you can avoid that. So we just ran the electricity all through the breadboard, and I'm not going to test it, but the current is flowing on this side too. So we have a 5 volt running. Next is we're going to connect our single pole double throw switches. So we have the power coming in here, the red, and on 2 grids down, we have the ground. So this is actually a useful chance to show you that how the SPDT works is that there are 3 terminals and the switch connects either the top or the bottom. So we want to do the same thing on the other end. Just making sure they are the kind of similar area. I have the power to here. And we're gonna have our switch as well. So hopefully this is good. I'm gonna test it by connecting this jumper wire up to this spot. And connecting my LED to the ground. So I know that I can turn on and off the switch. I'm just gonna test this side as well. And you can see that it's working. So that's really good. I think I'm gonna leave this out for a minute. So we have 2 inputs coming in. Now let's try to use our logic gate, which is this CMOS chip. There are 2 types of chips, one which is TTL, transistor logic, and CMOS. And let's see. I actually want to use this brown wire to connect my input. So I'm going to place this in an ideal location. I'm going to bring this into the input right underneath. So this is actually two different terminal. This one, the number 40 and 39 is actually different. I'm going to place my chip here. And the chip always needs to be powered. So we'll run the power here. And the ground here. And the output of this particular logic gate could be checked by connecting this wire into the third pin right here. Connecting the power. And the ground needs to be connected into this little terminal. Oh, did I put this wrong? Yeah. So this is a NAND gate. So both switches are off right now. Off and on and on. So this is turned off. So this part of the logic gate gives NAND. And actually all of them do. So this is why we're trying to wire them together to make a different logic. So far this is the first part of working with the breadboard. So it's been 10 minutes. And now the second part is to make an AND gate. So you make the AND gate by kind of chaining another NAND gate and creating a bubble. So how you do that is we are just going to use this tiny jumper wire to feed the output into input of the next gate. Now we have provided a output of the first gate into the input of the second gate. We now need to change the chain the two gates, two inputs. And you do that by kind of the same technique. Like that. And we're going to get the output of this from this little pin, and this is going to be paired with the resistor. I'm going to have this guy here. So this should be the exact opposite of the NAND gate. So when both inputs are high, the result is high. So we have our first AND gate. So that's pretty cool. Now it gets a little bit more complicated to make an OR gate. The OR gates are when either of the inputs are high, the result is high, and when both inputs are high, it's still high. So let's see. First of all, we need to think about how to use the same input that we have and give them a bubble, or like invert them. So let's see. So I think I'm gonna use just one set of the same switch. Use this to connect this input here. And we need to we need to chain this input. So right here, that's good. And now we're going to use the gray. Now we have got the same input from our switch and actually pair them up. And now we're going to try to route it kind of like this. So let's see where we could put this. Maybe like around here. Just make them a little neater. You could use pliers or other hand tools. Actually, and second output, I guess we could do it like that. Output like that. I'm actually gonna bring this here because I think that would actually be better in terms of the routing. So we are extending the output of the two paired up gate. I'm going to place this here. I'm going to provide the power and ground for our second chip. Now I'm going to try to see if we could extend and connect. Let's see. Yeah, so when this is high, this is low, this is high. This is low, this is high, this is high. When both are high, this is high. And both are low, this is low. So we have an OR gate. Next, it will be to create a NOR. And that will be kind of simple. That will be just creating another inverter from the OR gate. So let's see if we could. Like that. So we just paired up, or we just connected the output of the OR. Now we're going to use this jumper wire that is a little difficult to see. It's just a piece of wire, but it's essentially the same thing. So we're going to pair up these two inputs. Like that. And get the output. The output will be here. And provide the resistor. And now we have the opposite of the OR gate. So hopefully that makes sense. There are different ways to build the same circuit. You are free to design it in other ways as long as it's neat and easy to understand. But idea is that you would make 4 different logic gates out of NAND gates. So there are 8 types of logic gates. You're free to make some other ones too. All right, thanks. So this video is for students who have some sense of the binary logic and logic gate, but perhaps they're building it for the first time on the physical breadboard. I work with diverse group of students, most recently with undergraduate students at the University of Denver. And they were actually telling me that since they were either in high school or first year of college when the coronavirus hit, so they couldn't go to a lot of classes. So one student was an electrical engineer major, but they never actually got to touch the circuit, so everything was online. I believe that hands-on learning, trying to figure things out with your eyes, body and hand, objects in a room, creating a space where you could understand things, and working with other people are really the key of meaningful learning experiences. So I learned a lot of these through those environments, which I want to say thanks to first and foremost, the School for Poetic Computation, which is an artist-run school in New York City that I helped co-found and was a teacher for many years. This particular lesson around logic gate is definitely born out of my time at the school, and I'm thankful for my former colleagues and also the students and alums for inspiring me. And also NYU ITP, where I was a researcher for a while, and just the whole environment and the people there definitely supported this type of working with hands and working with other people. Another definitely important, my supporter and community is the University of Denver, Emergent Digital Practices. So definitely thanks for having me. And I also like to think that I learned a lot of these on my own using internet and books that I had access to. So I think 2 books that I definitely want to recommend are one, Code by Charles Petzold, that talks about the conceptual aspect of the binary logic, and just reading that book from the beginning to end really helped me understand the spectrum of how electricity becomes code and code becomes hardware and vice versa. And there's also this book, Charles Platt's Make Electronics, that I recommend for people who are learning on their own for the first time. It's a very friendly guide into the nuts and bolts of electronics, and following that book will definitely help you understand the basics. And also I wrote a guide called Handmade Computers, and that online blog is not online right now, but you could find an archived version of it. It was published on Avant, and that walks through some of the concepts and ideas behind this binary logic and why it's important. So definitely recommend that. And thanks to Sam Hart who edited and published that. Breadboard. Breadboard. Breadboard.